Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. It is Tuesday and that means we are cooking up something that you're going to love. And I'm working right now on Thanksgiving. So I know you guys have probably heard me talking about food prep. Well, one of the things about food prep is doing things ahead of time, making dishes that you can store in the refrigerator and have them ready. Just heat them up when you're ready to eat them. And that's why this dish is really good for that. Another thing about this dish is it's mashed cauliflower. It is not mashed potatoes. So it's naturally lighter in carbs. So we're going to add in a little bit of roasted garlic to this dish, which is going to add a wonderful flavor to it. And the best part about it is it's so easy to make. It's even easier than mashed potatoes because you don't have to peel them. So let's get started. And by the way, if you are interested in learning more about prepping foods and having things ready ahead of time, I know for me, when I'm working, it is always so difficult during the work week to have something healthy on hand. And as you know, if you don't have healthy foods to reach for, you tend to reach for a snack or a fast food, which is not as good for you. So I am doing a program November 29th, right after Thanksgiving, which is going to be a cooking workshop on Sunday from 2 to 4. And we are going to be cooking up an entire week's worth of recipes. So hopefully you'll be able to join me. It's called Prep It and Forget It. I will add in the link in the chat box here so that you can click on it, find out more about it, see what recipes there are there. It's really going to be a lot of fun, and the food is delicious, and as I said, healthy. So let's get to the recipe that we're doing today. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using cauliflower. Very healthy, very high in vitamin C, which is very good for us right now because vitamin C is an immune booster and we all want to be staying healthy. So vitamin C in there, and we're going to use garlic, which is also a good immune booster. All right, and for this recipe, what we like to do is use about 3 cloves of garlic, and we're going to roast that. If you've never roasted garlic before, very easy to do, and it brings out that real nice, it mellows the flavor. So you get a nice garlicky flavor without it coming on too strong. So I am going to, my garlic cloves here are a little bit small, so I think I'm going to use, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to use 4 of them. You can see them here. And what we're going to do, you don't even need to peel them. I'm going to take a piece of foil. I'm just going to make a little pouch out of the aluminum foil. So I'm going to place my garlic cloves on there. And as you can see, I've taken the papery parts off, but they haven't been peeled. Oops, I lost it. Let's go grab that one back. All right, so I have now my foil with my cloves. I'm going to add a drizzle of olive oil over it. And I am going to stick this into my preheated oven. I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes, right? 15 actually is probably good. I'm going to stick that in for 15 minutes. And let that go. While that is roasting, I'm going to cut up my florets. What we're going to do is we're going to steam the florets so they are nice and soft. And oh, it's amazing. It makes this nice, creamy, finished dish. So this one has a lot of the greens on it. So I'm just going to cut down the side to take the stem off and just peel off some of these larger leaves to begin with. So I'm hoping all of you will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know it's an unusual one this year with COVID and trying to stay healthy. So I hope you stay healthy, but also find ways to interact with your family, whether that means through Zoom or by telephone. It's a very difficult time for people. So I hope you're reaching out and connecting. And making some good foods for yourself, because you deserve that as well. So I've cut out now, if you saw, I cut into the stem and took that off. And now I'm just going to pull off the florets like this. And these are actually going to be larger than I want. The smaller the floret, when you cook it, the quicker it will cook. So I'm just pulling it, as you can see, pulling it apart into the smaller pieces. There we go. And I'm going to put them into my steamer basket. Okay, so you'll see on the stove back here, I have a pot. It's already got some hot water in it. And this is the steamer that sits right in on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my pieces into fairly small sizes. And like, as I said, the smaller the sizes that you use, the quicker it will cook. I try to keep them about the same size so they all cook evenly. I mentioned that I'm giving this prep course on Sunday, November 29th. Prep it and forget it. Such a great skill to have, to learn how to prepare foods ahead of time. Make a little bit more than what you need for one meal so that you have leftovers. And then it's like having frozen meals, right? You can stick it in the freezer if you're not eating all of it. And then you have a healthy frozen dinner instead of something that's a processed food that has added chemicals and other preservatives in it that our body just doesn't need. In fact, our body reacts poorly to these chemicals by creating inflammation. And inflammation, we know now, is a leading cause, chronic inflammation is a leading cause of many of the diseases we have in our society now, like diabetes, obesity, heart disease. So I hope you join me. We have about 7 different recipes that we're going to cook up. It comes with a menu plan so you know when to eat and when to eat leftovers. If you want, it's just suggested. You can eat them in any order that you like. It also comes with a prep guide, but we'll be prepping along all together on Sunday through Zoom. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. So, as you can see, I've cut up my pieces. They're all fairly uniform and a fairly small size. I'm just going to use my little prep sink here to rinse this again. I did rinse it once beforehand, but I'm going to do it again. All right. Got that all cleaned up. I'm going to stick it now into my pot. You can see the steam coming out. And I am going to put that up on a medium heat and allow it to steam for 12 minutes. I usually do it for 12 minutes and then I'll test it with a fork. If the fork pierces the pieces easily, I know it's done. I'm going to save these for my compost bin. I like to compost as much as I possibly can. And now we wait. Not really. I did pre-prep some of this morning. so that we wouldn't have to wait. So let me grab the cauliflower and the garlic that I cooked earlier. And as I said, the cauliflower steamed for 12 minutes. The garlic was roasting at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. I have my food processor here, which is going to be the next tool that we need in the recipe. So, what I did once this steamed was I took the basket out and I just let it sit for a minute just to drain off any of liquid. It really didn't have that much liquid in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these florets. Now, let me show you the consistency. Just so you have an idea of how easily this pierces. It's soft. Just like a boiled potato would be, right? And after all, that's what we're substituting in this dish. And as I said, this is low carb, so not nearly as much starch that's in the potato. Plus it's high in fiber, and as I said, vitamin C. Very good for us. What I'd like to do then is grab the garlic that I made earlier in our little packet here. Now, the garlic still has the covering on the outside of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off the root end of that garlic and pinch. Let me show you how I do this. Just pinch that roasted garlic into our steamed cauliflower. I'm going to do that with all of these. Unfortunately, they were small garlic cloves, so I did add in more than just 3. Yum. Oh, and it smells so good. Yeah. Right in. I remember the first time I ever had roasted garlic was in California, and it was just an appetizer. Came with bread, and you smeared it all over that bread, and it was, oh my goodness, so good. I was in my 20s before I ever had that. Never occurred to me to eat garlic by itself. But once it's roasted like that, it gets really sweet. All right. Okay, so now I've added in the garlic. I've added in the cauliflower. I'm just going to pulse. I'll let it go for a little bit. And you're going to see, this is amazing. Just push it down. Now, if you find that it's not getting creamy enough for you, you can add a little bit of either an almond milk or a chicken broth. And I have some chicken broth here with me that I can add in, although this is looking pretty good. I was wondering a little bit how the consistency of this would be because I steamed it so far in advance. I didn't know if it would lose too much moisture, but it seems to be just fine. Oh, this is great. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of butter. maybe about a tablespoon. Add that wonderful flavor in. And I'm going to add in a little bit of pinch of salt. That's it. I'm going to add in about a quarter teaspoon right here. And definitely some fresh pepper. I love cracked pepper in this. And you can add in any seasoning that you like. If you like rosemary, throw a little rosemary in. I'm going to add in a little bit of parsley. The last bit from my garden. And I'm just going to give it a coarse chop. Adds a little bit of color and a little bit of flavor to it. And of course, the phytonutrients that go with it, which is always good. Bitter greens are so good for us. They're so good for our digestion. All right. Just going to scrape this down so it incorporates. Let's give it just one little pulse. Ooh, that smells good. Oh, yes. All right. Let me just push this to the side here. Okay. Now you can put in more butter if you like more butter. I'm going to leave it the way it is here. And I'll just take a little bit out so we can take a look at it, and maybe I'll take a little sample. See whether I need to adjust it with any of my seasonings. But I wanted to show you the consistency of it. It's just like mashed potatoes. Isn't that great? Maybe I'll just add in a little bit more parsley as a garnish. All right, and there you have it. That is a wonderful side dish for your Thanksgiving meal. I'm going to take a little taste just to see and show you the consistency of it. That's great. Just in time, my garlic is done. So, I'm glad you joined me here in my kitchen today. I hope you try making some of the mashed cauliflower. You can even make some alongside, so that you have an option whether to do mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower. You may decide that this is your new favorite. Hope you get to do some prepping. Hope you get to enjoy your meal. And I hope to get to see you November 29th when we do our Prep It and Forget It, where we're going to be cooking up 1 week's worth of meals in the afternoon. So hope to see you soon. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and eat well.